Regular meeting of the Community Redevelopment Agency is Tuesday, December the 15th, and if you'll please pay attention to your agenda, the date is wrong on there. It's December the 15th, not November. And we'd like to have invocation and then pledge allegiance to the flag, and Commissioner Allen will give us an invocation, please. Thank you.
Father, we're so grateful for this beautiful day that you've given us, that we have this opportunity to come together and do the things that development, do the things for this city to make it even better than it was. We ask you to be with us in our judgments, that we might be wisely and fair. We ask you to be with our leaders and our governors and our government. And bless this meeting with wisdom and all fairness and honesty. In His name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I have approval of the November 17th minutes, please? Okay. All right. Okay, that was Commissioner, Bo. Mr. Bo made motion, and Commissioner Walden second. Is there any discussion? Okay, then, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. All right, we'll move on forward then to staff reports and the CRA director.
Progress on the new CRA website. I spoke with Tana with Web 2K yesterday. She said she'd have me a rough draft in a couple of days, so I'm expecting it by the end of the week. Progress on hiring a professional to repair water fountain at Veterans Park. I'll let Keisha give this one.
I spoke to Chip. He has a pool company and he runs twice the ice machine there. He went by and looked at it. He said it's just a standard pump. It looks like we fill it up with a garden hose and it just pumps the water. You don't know how that would stay, long that would stay good. That basically the city workers would have to come drain it every about 2 weeks and every couple of days put bleach in it to keep it chlorinated. But overall, he said that it looks like the PVC pipes rotted, but he said it looks like about $500 to fix it and like it working like they built it.
Okay.
He said it's not like a pool pump that would filter the water, and if leaves get in there, that's what keeps damaging that pump and the algae and stuff like that.
So it's not like a regular pool pump or
It's not fed through water line. You go fill it up with a water hose and it just keeps regenerating the same water.
Okay. And then Mr. Putnam did say that it needed to be repainted or something. Mr. Buzz Putnam, it needed.
Well, he said he wouldn't know if it leaked until he got the pump fixed. He said there's no power to it, but he can tell that the pump's locked up and it's not working. He would have to find another pump, but he wouldn't know if it leaked until he filled up the fountain.
All right, we'll continue forward with that for now and just see how, if that's all right with the board.
Do you want me to have him replace the pump and the way it was?
And what?
He said he would replace the pump about $500 and get it filled up and get it running. But like I said, the city workers would have to come drain it and maintain it. He said he would maintain it, but then it would of course be a monthly fee, just like if you had somebody working on the pool.
And I'm sure Mr. Byron would do that as well, but that would be a fee too.
He says he's at the ice machine every couple of days or so.
When you say Mr. Putnam, which Putnam is that?
Just Mr. Buzz Putnam was over there looking at it. He said that it needed to.
I thought that was the case. Okay.
needed resealed on the
Yeah,
inside.
needed to be repainted or resealed on the inside. So, but this, Mr. Chip won't know until it's filled up with water to see what happens with it.
Right.
Is that something he can do, that resealing?
Like he said that cost was just fixing the pump and getting the lines back up
It
running.
just seems to me that it probably would need something that's been sitting that long.
It's been sitting so long. But I would think that would be something that inmates could do.
How much would it cost to get a pool pump?
He said that I asked him that, to where it would maintain itself and we could tie in from the water meter, so it would, as the water, decreases it, because if the water gets below the pump, it's gonna run the pump out. He said that was getting a little pricier, you know. We would have to,
Thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars?
it would be thousands. It would be more than 1,000, just to fix the one pump, or get a new pump would be 500. He said also with it being, blocked in, the pipes, it's hard to get to and.
To repair. Well, we can, what do you think?
So,
Someone-
well, to get it on the agenda, and so we can discuss it, I'll move to approve.
We have discussed it many, many times, but at last meeting, we started to try to give it
To
a
get it
try.
back up and working order.
Till we see it bubble, we won't know if we really,
Yeah, so let's,
Think
let's,
it's
It
worth
can be
it.
drained easily. He said there's 2 drains on both sides. You just pop the plug out in the water,
all right,
runs out in the road.
we'll give it a trial and see what happens.
All right, progress of appraisal of Georgia motel property. We've ordered the appraisal. They should be coming to do that anytime now. Progress on the proposal from Captain David's lawn maintenance. I spoke with him about that. We agreed that the best time to update the planters would be in the spring, so he's gonna get back with me on a proposal for what it would cost to update the planters. But we wasn't in a big hurry because he didn't think that winter time was the best time to do it. Striping on Southeast Avenue B.
Their equipment broke down and they weren't able to get here this week, or last week, so, they're coming next week. I'm sorry,
Week of
This-
Christmas.
they're coming this week.
And just a reminder of the special CRA meeting that we have scheduled is gonna be, regarding moving the world's smallest police station. And it's on February the 16th at 6:00 p.m.
And I just wanted to report, when we discussed that, I mentioned that the president of the Big Ten Scenic Byway, Dale Suggs, is going to address the TDC regarding the progress on the kiosk. And he will be at the TDC on January the 13th if anyone wanted to come and attend. That meeting is at 2 o'clock on January the 13th, and Mr. Suggs will let us know when the kiosk will be ready, hopefully.
that's the meeting at East Point.
Yes, at East Point Visitor Center.
Could we weigh in on this issue of if there were 2 things in that triangle?
He probably would be the one to do that.
I was just curious if you had an opinion on that or.
No, I don't think he would. The TDC board just requested him to let us know what is the progress on the kiosk. Okay, is there anything else, Courtney?
That's all I have.
Okay, and then Mr. Hartman?
Yes, just one item. On the Millender purchase, we're still working through the title issues. Talked to both Vance Millender and Johnny Millender, as well as Janelyn Dowden, the realtor. And what I asked from the board is providing Courtney with authorization. Prior, Courtney was authorized to sign the contract, is to sign an extension, a 60-day extension on that contract. Hopefully, it will not take that long for them to resolve the title issues, but just to be safe, just go ahead and do an extension. To basically authorize Courtney to sign that extension.
Okay, we need a motion for that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. May I have a motion for that, for the administrator to sign the 60-day extension?
I would make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Bo May. May I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Walden. Is there any discussion? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, then we have a couple, okay, excuse
Could I ask
me.
a question, Courtney, about the
Yes.
website? Are they including the overlay maps that came from Maine, Indiana?
Yes,
In the website? It's going to be, and when the website is presented, will it be published, or will it be published back, privately, where we can have access to it?
I think it's gonna be
before
privately
it's made
before it's public. We'll have access, we'll be able to look at it and make comments and changes to it.
Okay.
We'll have a password or a link that we can go to look at it as a website.
Okay, that's,
Prior to
thank you for
publish.
asking. I was curious because I was going to review the photos, and I have a lot of photos. If there was something that needed to be added, I would suggest that.
And
Okay.
as soon as they get that to me, I'll give it out to everybody else,
All
so
right.
that everybody can look at it.
Okay,
That's
thank
the
you.
best, that's the best way to review it, is
Pre-review.
private publish access. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Then is there any more questions for Courtney or Dan? All right, then we'll move on to public comments and requests. Is there any public comment? Okay, we have Mr. Louis Christie. And I don't believe he has a microphone, does he?
Oh, they were,
That's okay, I'm loud.
Well, for the recording.
the recording needs it.
It's right here.
Thank you, Russell.
Thanks, Russell.
Hello.
Hey.
My name's Louis Christie. I'm representing the Chamber of Commerce for Carabel today, and I just wanted to make a few comments about our appreciation for the CRA's participation and helping us out with the recent holiday on the harbor and boat parade of lights that we had, and it was just an absolutely wonderful weekend. Surely was a collaborative effort on a lot of different people's efforts and different groups. If I could, I'd like to thank a few people. I wanted to specifically thank CRA and the TDC for their help and sponsorship. We also had sponsors with Susan McConnell with ECT. We had several other sponsors, including Sea Quarters. I wanted to thank the city of Carabel, specifically Courtney and William, for their efforts to make sure that we had signage, that we had the labor that it took to set up tents, the stages, and the break back down of all those and delivery back to where they're supposed to be. Wanted to thank Tamara and Steve Allen for their past experience and help guiding us to make some important decisions along the way. And for Carabel Cares for providing Santa Claus, and the city for letting the fire truck come and deliver Santa Claus. I want to thank David Butler for the decorations that he helped provide to decorate the stage and some of the tents. I also want to thank the mayor and Greg for coming to help clean up and straighten up what we need, and all the other volunteers that came forward to help set up on the Friday before and break down on Sunday. And also Ben and Steve Watkins for allowing us to use the vacant lot on Marine Street for setting up the stage and the chair. We had, I think, over 300 people actually sitting there viewing the parade of lights as they came around in that lot. And also to report that we had 15 vendors this year. That's a start of about twice what we had last year. And we had 28 boats in the parade, which I'm not sure how many Panama City had, but somebody said it was around 30 boats. And if that's true, it's truly amazing that we were able to put that number of boats in our parade compared to a large city like Panama City. And maybe we can do something better next year. And again, thanks CRA for listening to our needs and providing us any support that we needed. Thank you very much.
You're certainly welcome. I will also add to that Stick Frank wrote a little note to me, and he said as the event organizer, he wanted to express his utmost thanks from the chamber and all of those who worked for the holiday on the harbor and both parade of lights, all those that you just mentioned. He also said the fireworks were fantastic and timely, and he wanted to thank the administrative staff for letting us know on Saturday afternoon that the fireworks were definitely underway. I spoke to all, Miranda, Renee, and Courtney and Keisha, and they all worked on it just to make sure they were on their way. We were a little concerned. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
A number of people said it was the best fireworks we'd ever had. And the visual explosion. You really did a good job. We got very entertaining.
All right, it's $2,500, so that's not so bad.
No, I thought it was more than that, so that's great. It was so much better than the 4th of July. And I don't know what the difference is and why that.
It's smaller calibers. They're able to get more up in the air using the smaller shells than the big ones that go higher and make a bigger boom.
Well, maybe that was why it seemed better. Is
They're
they were
closer.
Closer to us, so that stuff came down and feel like you were really.
It's going to catch on fire.
It was very nice. That was one of the highlights, and I liked the fact that the event was local and aimed toward local residents and businesses. And I would love to see the fire truck. I know it's probably not legal, but when it drives around with Santa Claus, pick up children and come back loaded with
Oh,
kids.
wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, when I heard it going around through the neighborhood, I thought, that's going to come back and they're going to be 50, 75 kids on it.
Probably not legal, though.
No.
Okay, so Ms. Tamara wants to speak.
I'm sorry,
That's
I
okay.
couldn't sat there till you recognized me. I just wanted to, since it's so fresh here, thank Mr. Hartman for the candy canes for the kid. Honestly, you're astounding. It really makes a difference. The kids love it and look forward to a candy cane, and we were able to put some of that were left over to good use earlier today. And I want to thank the mayor for being, and Greg for being the official elves. We had some volunteer elves as well. And the whole Santa thing was even added to by the fact that these ladies from East Point called the Dinner Divas brought books, age-appropriate books for the different kids that were there. And they only came at the afternoon time that Santa was there, but they were very popular and the kids were all excited about their books. It was really a sweet thing to see.
Nice.
And so hopefully I can talk them into coming. They didn't want to come both times, but I really think we'll talk them into coming both times next year. But it was very nice, and for all the help we got with putting Santa together, it was kind of a community effort. We appreciate it. Thank you.
I would like to add to that being the first time to do it downtown in the business area, I've had several comments from business people about increased sales and visitations and relationships with the community. And me being the first time in business downtown at that time of year, I was very impressed with the number of people that came in. Of course, our sales items are not the kind of thing that you could just walk in and buy 3 or 4 of them. But there was a lot of good comments, good talk, and people seem to really appreciate the idea of moving this downtown like that rather than the way it used to be.
Okay, is there any more discussion? All right, then we'll move on to old business. Item number 1, lift station facility at Highway 98 and Gulf Beach Drive used for a billboard. And then Mr. Russell Large with the note is going to report to us about that.
All right, on this item, Florida statute 479.16 per N1. Signs for which permits are not required. Signs owned by a municipality or a county located on the premises of such municipality or county which display information regarding government services, activities, events, and entertainment. Following types of messages are not considered information regarding those services. Messages that specifically reference any commercial enterprise, reference a commercial sponsor or event, a personal message, or a political campaign message. So I believe that a sign on that lift station would meet those definitions and be permit exempt. I don't know what the board had in mind exactly, the text what the sign would say, graphics. But I'm happy to take that information to the department and have them confirm that it meets that criteria.
Do y'all want to move forward with this?
Would that cover the width of the square, the rectangle that's sort of above the fence line?
Right.
That's it, that has the aluminum on the
Yep.
backside.
Yep.
And Charlie said he believes that's about an 8x16 or 8x20. We didn't ask him to measure it just yet until we knew that we wanted to move forward.
Seems about right, I didn't.
And I did take I have a black and white photo of this billboard that's right out here by Sands Park. And it actually needs to be redone. I don't know if the CRA could do that or not. David Butler sent me a picture when, back in 2012. It looks beautiful now, it's faded. But this one has, says community services, welcome to Carabel, and it's got, you know, a golfer. Of course, the CRA couldn't put a golfer on it, but it could put these, it's got the phone booth and a bear. You know, we have, most likely have bears in the district, and, you know, a boat. So, you know, we could, if the board wanted to, we could do something similar to that, the colored part of that, not necessarily name all of these items because they're not in a district, but something like that. I don't know who. Oh, he has a code. Y'all know what we're talking
I
about.
like it. I like it too. It is, has faded to the point now that it's almost not.
Does anyone know who did this billboard in the first place?
I don't know who did billboard, but Tony Minicello designed it.
They had, oh, well, I do, can I?
Yes, ma'am.
Tony they hired an artist that worked for Tony at the time to create that, that particular postcard effect. And she now runs the, one of the house museums in Tallahassee, but she's still an artist and perhaps could look at, but it costs money to get that done. But it was a combination, it was the beautification committee. Back several things ago, we had a beautification committee and they were wanting a sign, and Camp Gordon Johnston had some money that they had gotten to do the part, as long as it had their information on it. And I can't think of, I think the city paid for part of it, and I don't, and maybe I know, it was the TDC when the BP money was here, I believe. Isn't it about that old? Remember that? Probably. It was kind of some unexpected money, but the beautification committee had been talking about trying to put something. A lot of people thought that sign was too busy. But
It's hard to read all of this, but if you're walking or pulling into the park, you know.
those were all the groups that had contributed to, we all paid. Each of us that are underneath that, we paid a certain amount to get our name there, and it was kind of like buying an ad, sort of. And we were able to contribute to the price of it that way.
And now we could do a billboard that's similar to the fish cleaning station sign, just that's postcard effect style also. That looks like that. If you wanted to do something like that, it would be more simple. But that would have to go through Saul Signs, and I want to remind you all that we cannot use that logo, Saul Signs. Did our gateway signs and the fish clean. We would have to buy that logo from him or get another one-time fee to use it. He charges.
Only for signs, though. You can use it for other things.
But we're talking about billboards right now. We cannot use that sign on a billboard. I think he charges $175 for one-time use on billboard, $175.
we gotta pay something, we have to pay another design fee. I like the multiple effect of this, the look of it, but I think it could be simplified. People driving by can't read that stuff on the bottom.
No,
It's,
just
you know,
a-
if
just
it's
a
a
picture.
billboard,
Uh-huh.
people now would get their phone and they would go, well, this looks like an interesting place, and they would find all those details on their pad or their phone and all that type of stuff on the bottom.
All right, do we want Mr. Large to move forward and kind of present an idea of what we might use out there in the lift station area? Do we want to use the lift station?
I think it's a great place because that's another. It'd be nice to dress that up if we can. I know it's out of our district, but if we advertise downtown in the CRA district, then it would be
It's
just.
just,
We just need to fall within the language that's acceptable.
That's right.
but he's not, we're not going to worry about that right this minute. But if we want to just do you want to go ahead and see if we can use that billboard, if the FDOT will allow us to use the lift station? What about? All right, I'll call for a motion here in a second. I just wanted to ask Ms. Tamara if she would be able to research who did this billboard to see if we might get that billboard redone as is. If just report back to us on this one.
I'll be glad to do it.
Okay.
In fact, if, I could probably have that answer back to you in about 5 minutes.
Well, it's not on the agenda, but we'll put that on the agenda for next month to see if we want to address this, and find out what they would charge for doing this billboard.
Have you all considered the possibility of a solar spotlight on those, like where you're talking about putting it on the lift station, to light up those signs so that people could see them coming in?
We'd have to figure out some way to do that wouldn't be vandalized or stolen.
Well,
so.
that's a different problem. I'd be glad to find out the name of it.
But the lights could be inside the enclosure. There is an enclosure there anyway, so the lights could be inside that fence.
And is anyone interested in updating the billboard on the east side of town? That's not on the agenda today, but
The new sign. I looked at that and I think, can that be painted on?
I don't know.
Because if we could, like the fish hook is, the city limit sign where it says welcome to Carabel, that fish hook is shiny and silver, it's reflective, and it catches light and stuff from the one on the billboard underneath the inside. When the sun's on it from the east in the morning, you see it well, but still the fish hook is like dome. It's not as colorful, and that I think could just be snapped up if it could be painted or addressed somehow. In other words, yes. I have looked at it several times. That was more detailed than you really wanted, but Dan got me drinking Juki coffee.
Okay, so may I have a motion for Mr. Large to report back to the DOT to let them know exactly, or pretty much what we have in mind to put on the lift station as an advertisement? May I have a motion for that, please?
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, so Rob Powers motions, Bo May seconds, and is there any more discussion?
I have a question.
Okay, please come forward.
Can you have Russell check to see if the sign was mounted on its own frame, could it be larger than the space that's there within that? You might want a bigger sign, but still there, if the DOT would let it. And I don't know, maybe you need to be a little taller to make it look symmetrical. Would that be allowed?
That's a good point.
Okay.
Sure.
All right,
I'll do that.
just, how large they'll let us go. Okay, so all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, so the motion carries. All right, we'll move on to item 2, the 4th Street and Highway 98 crosswalk at Veterans Park. And that's Mr. Anoka, Mr. Large again.
Mr. Ed. Okay, we're continuing to coordinate with the department. That we received comments back from the Midway office, and we responded to those, and now it's made its way to Chipley. So I think we need to push them to complete their review, issue the approval for that. We have submitted, and Courtney's signed off on the construction agreement, so it's really in their court at this point. So we'll just continue to push them until that's completed.
You don't have any idea when you might hear, so you're just waiting to hear from them. You're not going to need to go back to them at this point.
Well, we may, and I'll call the reviewer who's in Chipley, Ed Gassman. He's the guy who made the initial comments on this, so I'll follow up with him.
Okay. Now, please excuse me, but I have to inform the board that every time that Innovia does some consulting like this, now, you know, the CRA is charged a fee for it. So I just want y'all to be aware of it. Okay? All right. We know what we're dealing with here now. Okay?
I try really hard to be
Okay.
efficient.
All right.
And understand.
And there's no need for a motion or anything here on this one. Just move forward. I don't believe Mr. Hartman. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And let's see, I think, then, all right, that's no more for you right now. Thank you. Oh, no, that is. I think we're going to talk to you possibly about repairing item 1 under new business. Repairing the stormwater drain or culvert at on the southwest corner of Tallahassee Street and Avenue A, right there, that streetscape that was done right there next to the Messer Pavilion. That evidently a semi-truck ran over that and crushed it, and it needs repair.
I see. This is the top, the structure top.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Innovia, you
Yes.
did the original project, the engineering of that, the original
Yes.
project, is that correct?
Yes, it sure did. Right, I'm familiar. I think that's going to end up being a relatively minor repair. Those structures, brand new, installed, usually cost around $4,000, maybe $5,000, but that's for the whole structure. This is just the top. I think we could get that done in the neighborhood of $1,500 maybe. And is there a threshold, Courtney or Dan, where can we just seek out a contractor to do this work if the price is under a certain threshold?
This is $25,000?
No.
Under $25,000.
Sure. Okay.
Are you all familiar with the? Are you familiar with the location of this culvert, this drain? It's crushed and it does need to be repaired. And we do have the opportunity to repair it. Are you all interested in moving forward with this?
Is it causing water to back up in the street?
Right?
It's on.
It's
It's on.
Do we need to take a phone break?
No, it's fine.
Well,
That's
The
okay.
lid's crushed down.
Yeah, I don't think it's causing the water to back up in the street, but it's a safety hazard if someone trips over it or.
right.
Then I think we need to
Let's
maintain.
get held up, please.
Is there any way, some type of a warning or, I don't know, post or you paint, or yellow paint or something that would help drivers that are high up, like in a ladder truck, a fire truck, see that so that they don't it's not run over again?
Yes, there are reflective pavement markers that could be placed around the top of that lid. Sorry? It's fine. There are things of that nature. Do we know, was that a delivery vehicle for maybe the grocery store? Or
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay. Okay, well, it's survived for a number of years without being crushed, so I suspect it's probably driver error.
Okay, all right, then, we'll move forward. May I have a motion then to allow Mr. Large to seek out a contractor to do the work to repair this culvert there at south, on the corner of Avenue A and Tallahassee Street? Does anyone want to allow Mr. Large to move forward with this project?
I think we should.
Let me ask
We
you a
need a
question.
motion.
If we don't fix this, somebody's car falls through it, we gonna be liable for,
Yes,
We're gonna
well,
get this
that's
fixed.
probably a better question for Mr. Attorney, but it is within city right of way.
yeah, we better take care of this. I make the motion.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion by Commissioner Walden and a second by Bo May. Is there any more discussion?
I guess I have a question. Why wouldn't this be paid for by the city as opposed to CRA?
Because the city don't have any money.
And it's in the
That's a good
district.
answer.
What was your question?
I said, and it's in the district.
I said the city don't have any money.
What? Pay for the total vehicle.
For the culvert top. We have more money in this CR.
That answered my question.
Okay. Is there any more discussion? Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, then the motion carries. And then next under new business, it's on the agenda, it says item 4, but it's item 2. Directs, make sure I have it right here, direct staff to develop a draft CRA guidelines and criteria for participating in the CRA district nonprofit organizations and distributing support and/or event funding to CRA district nonprofit organizations, discussion and possible action. And before we start our discussion, I want to formally invite Steve Allen with the Riverfront Festival to address the CRA meeting and the CRA board at our January 19th meeting, just for him to present us with his ideas and needs, suggestions for something or things that he may be needing for the Riverfront Festival. Not to have discussion and possible action what we're going to grant at that time, but just for him to go ahead and let us know what he has in mind and some things that he may need and ask for assistance. So if we can move on then with discussion or
Just quickly,
Yes, sir.
this issue, and it's come up a number of times where organizations have come to the CRA board and asked for money in support of whatever effort or event they're putting on. In my review, when we did the update, CRA update, it's an area of, just fraught with problems as far as CRAs getting involved in promotional activities. We had someone from Leon County come down, from the city of Tallahassee come down and explain to us how they do it. So certainly it's doable, but we need to make sure we CYA ourselves whenever we're involved in these promotional activities as far as money. And that's really the big part of the reason for this being on the agenda. Because again, we have folks coming to us, all kinds of different organizations wanting our assistance as a CRA board. We have money and they're looking for money. So basically just a simple framework so that we treat them all the same and comply with statute and whatnot.
Is that something you would draw on?
Yes, and what I do is primarily not going to reinvent the wheel. There's CRAs around the state that do this already, and try to draw from those and just piece something together like our grant facade program, simpler and shorter, and have it in front of you all before the next meeting.
And Courtney has some examples right there. She's already done a little research on it from 3 cities right there. If you want to see from Delray.
City of Homestead, Winter Park.
So it may be actually Courtney can, depends on, she wants to do it, if she wants to put it together and I'll take a look at it, it's fine. You don't have to pay attorney rates to put it together.
But it looks like those 3 and other CRAs do partner with nonprofits or grant money to nonprofits, but they have an application process and an amount that they do and certain criteria, just like the TDC does, and similar to our facade grant criteria. That way it can be posted on our website and everything can be upfront and transparent.
Could we get copies of the ones that Courtney, could we get copies of that?
I'll give you copies of what I can.
If you're using those as guides, then can we just look at the same thing you're looking at instead of others?
But look at other cities as well,
Yeah.
to get,
Well, I know we'd probably like to push the boundaries as much as possible. So.
And I just Googled,
you would, but not.
I Googled CRAs and nonprofits, and it just came up with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so may I have a motion then for Dan and Courtney to develop a draft criteria for nonprofit assistance, nonprofit organizations within the CRA district?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. I have a motion by Rob Powers, a second, please.
I'll second.
Okay, and a second by Bo May. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay. Item 3, which the agenda says item 5. This is a proposal to the additional project, Marine Street Stormwater Project, to coincide with the Marine Street Stormwater retrofit and repair of the alleyway between Southeast Avenue B and Highway 98. And the suggestion is, at the last meeting, Ms. Susan reported that when they repair the alleyway that's behind Carabel Pharmacy and Christie's and the White Kitchen, that they'll need a place to put the sand that's removed from there. So this is proposed to put the sand from that alleyway to the alleyway behind, or between Carabel Junction and Ganders, between Northeast 1st Street and Tallahassee Street. That alleyway has some potholes in it that stand to be filled in. I don't know if it would have to be graded first. And then you're going to have milled asphalt that you're going to distribute on the alleyway behind the pharmacy and White Kitchen from Marine Street, but I think you're still going to have more milled asphalt. So to distribute milled asphalt on this second alleyway between the junction and Ganders Hardware.
Okay. So we'll talk with North Florida Asphalt about.
Well, I need to get a motion if the board wants to move forward with repair of that second alleyway that's in the CRA district. Now they do, Ganders receives their big trucks, semi-trucks come in there, and big pup trucks come in that way to deliver to Ganders and to Carabel Junction.
I think it's a good idea. That road gets a lot of traffic, that alleyway, and about 3,000 will maintain as best we can. If we have extra
Yeah, we'll have
material
materials,
that needs to go somewhere, that's a good place for it.
and then we'll have the equipment there. You know where I'm talking
Yes,
about.
ma'am. I know what you're talking about.
All right, do we need a motion for that then? I mean, would anyone like to motion for that additional project to, I guess that would be a change.
Maybe a change, and we can talk with North Florida Asphalt, because really the trucking shouldn't change, because they're gonna have to haul it somewhere anyway. It would just be mainly them to probably grade and like and spread the millings. have them.
So the elevation of the alleyway that you're gonna mill will be pretty much the same as where it is now,
Behind,
where the dirt is now.
no, behind the pharmacy,
Yeah.
it's actually gonna be lower a little bit more.
Lower. Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna, the discussion was cutting 8 inches and then coming back with about 6, so we can have a little bit lower, so maybe the water will flow down towards the Highway 98.
Right, and come in the drain from.
Correct.
And then that's why we have the extra sand, they needed a place to locate the sand.
Right.
So possibly locate it to another alleyway that's full of potholes, fill those up.
And that alleyway qualifies for that
It's in the CRA district, yes.
with the pothole, I mean, with the potholes in. Never mind.
Yes.
You said that the potholes covered up, I said that qualifies.
Yes. Okay, Ms. Tamara has something she'd like to say.
I would just like to know if Susan in the design is taking into consideration the drainage that goes into Mary, the antique store. She gets, whatever drains down that alley goes into her back door. So I know she's worried about how that might affect her building.
That was the major issue.
Right. That's why they'll cut a little bit lower than what the existing grade was, so to help it.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that was why.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, and then Mr. Christie also, who's backs up to that alleyway. Please come forward.
I was just concerned that the material that they're going to take, grading of the asphalt, moving it over there, is that when it gets to, is it going to be compacted in such a way with any traffic that it become non-permeable and wouldn't allow water to? Because I think earlier discussions was like maybe we could put crushed aluminum shells or something like that in the alleyway so that any water might be able to percolate down, not necessarily flow over and run over into the back door for Mary and my building. We've had water intrusion from heavy rains, and I just didn't want it impermeable, so I'm just going to put down there and make it worse than it is now with sand.
Right, and it won't be, it'll basically be the travel lanes that are gonna have those millings in there, is what the plan is. You know, it's still gonna be a little bit hard for the antique store, because her door is lower than, you know, that, but we're definitely gonna try to help alleviate some of that, to help to, and have it more flow towards.
Well, the net result of 2 inches drop, to me, I don't think is enough. I mean, if you go back to see where my water meter on the back of my store is actually down about 4 to 5 inches below the current surface level. So even if you go down 8, you come back with 6, you're still going to be above my water meter at that point. I'm thinking you're coming back up too high, maybe. I don't know.
But I think,
Just a comment.
yeah, if we do that, then I think more engineering would definitely have to be involved, having to cut, you know, a lot of, just because of the structures. I mean, we can look at that if you like.
What do y'all think? Now I understood that the mill asphalt is considered pervious.
To some extent, yes, it will. Because once it gets packed, it packed.
But it's just gonna be where the tire lanes are?
We can do that or between the tire lanes, that whole middle section, so they will still be on both sides.
Do you think it requires more engineering to make sure that we're not going to have a flooding issue?
We can definitely do that. I think what's still gonna be hard is, because her door is definitely, you know, almost looks like a couple feet lower than
I
the
know.
alleyway.
Can the road be shaped a little so it flows? I mean, it has that contour that.
And it can make it, yeah, make it kind of like the way the boat ramp is, kind of make it a little bit to be in the middle, like you're saying, so it kind of flow to the middle and then
You
flow.
can flow to the middle and flow out, or flow to the side toward the bottom of Frank's right there.
Then you might put it into their back doors.
Well, he doesn't, no, his back door's a long way from, I mean, that's closer.
We can definitely take a look at it a little
you've got active businesses there now.
Okay, now I have, let me just say something here. On item 3, on the ongoing projects follow-up, we have repairs and upgrades to that alleyway behind the junction. We're going to be discussing that. So let's say this part or any kind of a motion for this re-evaluation or re-engineering for that item 3. And let's just go ahead and address the additional project to repair the alleyway between Junction and Ganders for now.
So whatever comes out of that thing will go.
Yes.
Do you need a motion to do that?
Yes.
I move that we use the millage and the sand, the mill asphalt and the sand from there, put it on what I call Seaside Drive because it reminds me of Seaside. Behind, between Ganders and.
Okay, so we have a motion for that. Item 3, under new business, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, then the motion carries. Thank you. And then on the 4th Street boat ramp, do you have any report or any
Yeah,
change?
the only change we have is, we talked to a couple of the contractors that are holding the plans, and they have requested us to move the bid submittal date the week after New Year's, because most of them are shut down between Christmas and New Year's. And we had the bid submittal for December 28th. So if it's all right with the board, we'll move it to, I believe that's Tuesday, January 5th.
Okay. So the January 28th was the deadline for the bid submittal for the 4th Street boat ramp, and they're closed, all contractors are closed during that time. She wants to, is it all right with the board if the bid submittal deadline is January 5th?
It's okay with me.
For the 4th Street boat ramp. Okay. Do we need an emotion for that, or just board approves that? Now, bid submittal was the 28th, and now she needs to move it till about the 5th deadline. Are there any other changes or anything at this point, just that?
Yeah, that should be the only one for that one, correct.
Kind of leave it up, motions.
Go ahead.
I just want to make a comment to Courtney. Once this is finished, the project is finished, can we put a sign down there that says no overnight docking? I think it says no overnight parking, but I guess what I'm concerned, if we go forward with the cost of expanding the dock and all that, and people park their boats there, dock their boats there overnight and for long periods of time, that others that are trying to use the dock can't get the use out of it.
We have that on our other docks, don't we?
And they should have put one down there too. I haven't checked it, but.
Okay, well, then if they should have, then if it hasn't been posted, then I suppose we could go ahead and post it. Or do we want to wait till after construction so it doesn't have to?
Probably after construction, because they're gonna be working on that dock.
Right.
Mhm. Okay, so we don't need a motion. So just go ahead and
Okay.
give your bid submittal date. All right, then we'll move forward to item 2, the Marine Street Stormwater Retrofit Project. We see that you've got your equipment stage, some equipment, and how's it moving on?
Right, the baffle box was supposed to be delivered on Thursday, however, an email came from Suntree on Monday saying they had another delay. But North Florida Asphalt did come down. Thurman Ronberry came and marked out all the structural locations, so everything is marked out. They started saw cutting. Some of the concrete which has been taken out, now pending Suntree again. So, but they have started some of the work. I think they did mow some of the equipment. I think they're they were gonna demo some because of some trees.
Is the baffle box constructed?
Critical.
No, but I mean, is it, I knew that it's the
Right.
very first thing
Right.
to go in.
Right.
Is it constructed? I mean, have they finished it, they just haven't shipped it, or?
They didn't say in the last email, they just said circumstances out of their control, is all they said. Because as of last Thursday, they were shipping it, and then Monday morning came the email saying that they weren't shipping it. So, and they're the only ones that make it, unfortunately.
And what is the deadline on the Water Management District grant? I mean, does it look like? October of 2017.
We have at least through 16, and then we can still do another extension.
Excuse me, October 2016.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and we did notify them, and because they do want to come down when the baffle box is installed, so there will be.
The Water Management
Yes.
District folks. Okay.
Correct.
All right. Now, the Riverfront Festival, what is, that's the last third weekend of April. What is that?
Fourth weekend of April.
And so you need,
Right.
okay, to coordinate with that.
Correct, right.
What is the, I didn't want to ask this all the time, what is your best guess of finishing the whole thing?
Well, it's estimated for the, our construction drawings was 135 days maximum. And we just gave them their official notice to proceed last Friday. I think we did it Friday, because we were waiting on an official date for the baffle box. So their start date, their clock has started now.
So if the baffle box came in on January 2nd,
Mhm.
then it would be about 4 months.
Yes. And then that's, our end of the project will be the milling and resurfacing and everything. So that might be something maybe we have to hold out till after the festival, if we're close to that.
But I mean, that's,
Right.
so it should be done by June.
We'd like to have it done sooner.
Now,
Yes.
what will the street look like if you haven't done the paving yet?
And I don't know if you've been down there since the surveyors done, there's trenches that are gonna be cut. So there'll be some trench lines, I believe they're about 3-foot trench lines that are gonna be cut. But they will bring those back up to grade, they'll probably have some like a limestone base material at the very surface.
And that's going to be on the curb side, west side of the street.
It's pretty much, on the north end of Marine, or I guess on the north end by those townhomes, it will be on on the side of the river on the west side. But then as you're coming down closer to the pavilion where that sidewalk crosses, or the crosswalk is, it'll be on both sides. The trench line does go across both
Okay.
sides.
Ms. Tamara, did you hear all of that? So, go down there and take a look at those where they have cut already, the asphalt. And if they don't get asphalt laid before the Riverfront Festival, that's gonna be lime rock. So take a look at that. And it's all on the west side of Marine Street from the condos, it's going south and then it crosses Marine Street. I guess they're near Wicked Willie's or the
Yes,
pavilion
correct.
area. Okay.
Correct.
And then the second piece is assuming the title work gets done on the Millander project within 60 days, does that still fall within construction schedule? So we still should be pretty good for that.
We should be, yes.
Strike part.
Correct. Yeah, and I think that we're still on the agenda for the February 17th to talk about the parking, the striping for the parking right now.
Oh, yes, thank you for reminding me of that. I wanted to ask Dan, but I can say that until after the other items brought forward, after all of our motion items are discussed. I wanted to ask him about paving layout. Okay.
But we should be able to, if it does go through, be able to add, because that would come on the end then also.
Thank you.
Okay, so there's no motion necessary here. And then on the last one now, item number 3, repairs and upgrades to alleyway between Southeast Avenue B and Highway 98. Report from ECT, and this is the alleyway, now we were discussing earlier, behind Christie's and behind Carabelle Junction. So what we were discussing earlier was possible reevaluation or additional engineering to make sure that we're not going to have flooding into those businesses.
I'd like to make that motion that we do the additional reevaluation to see what we can do about the floods of Christie's and the antique shop and any other businesses that are along
to, you know, do the millings and take that out so far. So at least that would give us something to start with, whatever cost. And since they were gonna have to haul it, hauling shouldn't be additional, just be their labor or the time and materials to spread and excavate that.
And so there really wouldn't be any extra additional costs from the North Florida?
Only the time and materials to excavate the.
But if additional engineering, there'll be an additional
Yes,
cost for that?
Correct.
Okay.
And then we also, I guess, there's not a survey for that alleyway either, so I guess can we do is have Thurman Roddenberry come and do a survey of that alleyway? If we want to do additional engineering, because there is no survey for that.
So,
And that is also for that north end of Marine Street, sorry, I forgot to mention that, where that drain is going to go in. He has not been able to find a survey for that north end of Marine Street, where that existing drain used to be.
So you're saying you can't do this without a survey?
Correct.
So we need a survey.
Correct. If you want to do the additional engineering work, it'll be that way.
I'll add that to my motion.
The drain of the northeast end of Marine Street is where, is that the one that's
Correct,
directly?
correct. Right. Right, and Thurman Roddenberry thought he had something, but he hasn't been able to find something. I tried to catch him when he was out there laying out the structures for North Florida asphalt, but.
okay, Courtney, do you have any idea what these two surveys would cost?
Yeah, probably $800-900.
Each?
No, probably for all of it.
Okay. Do y'all hear that, $800 or $900?
We should have a little bit of extra money left from the electrical to fix that last light pole out there from Suncoast Electric, because I met them out there today. And we'll have their estimates coming in less than what we originally put in the estimate.
I was just trying to see, there was a surplus here. I don't have it, I mean, I don't know it offhand here. But I can look and see for next week, but next month, we had a surplus.
Correct.
Okay, so, in August, our contribution so far was $61,653 in August, and we had pledged $150.
Correct.
So there will be, for this Marine Street / alleyway project, there is a surplus. So. All right, can we do this in two motions then? Motion for the re-engineering reevaluation to alleyway between Southeast Avenue B and Highway 98. So that is motion for by Rob Powell.
Hold on, wait, we're gonna do it two separate ones?
Yeah, and then we'll motion for surveys. Okay.
And I'll second.
Okay, then we need a survey on the east side of Marine Street between Southeast Avenue B and Highway 98. And we need a survey of the alleyway between Southeast Avenue B and Highway 98. And may I have a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. And a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion?
I think it's the right thing to do because we're doing, we need to do it right, and we've got the grant and the money.
Okay.
There's no reason to do it again.
All right. Any more discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. And I didn't call for a vote on the other one, on the engineering. So we had a motion by Rob and a second by Bo to re-engineer. And are all in favor on that one?
Aye.
Any opposed? opposed? Okay, so the motion carries on that. All right. And then on the other items brought forward by CRA board members, I meant to ask you this question during your attorney report on the parking layout that is approved by the CRA and the city, CRA. Just like the issue that we dealt with on Southeast Avenue B. We had that discussion twice, I believe. Now, is that really for the CRA to make a decision on the final parking layout on streets, or would that really be more of a commission vote?
The way that I believe legally comes down is, since the CRA is paying for it, is my understanding, so that project must be approved by the CRA because we're paying for it. However, we should have it also on the city agenda, just for the city to say, you know, this is a city street, therefore the city commission finds acceptable the parking layout, even though it's paid for by the CRA. So it will be on both agendas.
So it would be possibly that the CRA is making recommendation for a specific layout?
Yes, and the CRA is saying, hey, we will pay, this is what we propose, we're going to pay for this layout, this is why. Obviously, we have overlap on the commission boards, therefore a lot of explanation shouldn't be necessary, but for anybody that isn't here, certainly it's available, you can explain it to them. But having the city, you know, Commissioner Marilyn Paz brought this up, was, you know, we talked before also about changing direction of streets or making them one way and that abandoning things. Absolutely, as long as they are part of a project, they need to be discussed at the CRA because the CRA is paying for it, but that is a city function. So we need to make sure it's also at the city meeting also be considered and approve it. So everything's, if someone goes back and looks at the records years from now, they'll be able to tell clearly that those two steps were taken.
I think we had mentioned having a public hearing on that, about the parking on the same night as we talked about the police station.
We did on February the 16th.
February the 16th.
We'll have that as part of the public hearing, as well as our CRA meeting that night as well. So are there any other questions?
And then it'll go on the March commission agenda.
Yes, it could, certainly could. That would be good. Thank you. Are there any other questions for Mr. Hartman on that topic? Are there any other items that the CRA board members would like to bring forward? Anything for you, Mr. Walton? Okay. All right, well then I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and I especially want to thank Mr. May and Mr. Powers again for their volunteer work on this board. And I thank the commissioners for attending. If you didn't attend, we wouldn't have a quorum, any of you. We need to just move forward and try to improve our CRA district as much as we can, as much as we can work together. Thank you, Mr. Hartman. Merry Christmas. Thank you, Courtney and Keisha, for taking on these extra duties of the CRA board. We appreciate it. And Miranda, too, extra accounting. And we're certainly appreciative of all of that. You're working with us in our wishy-washy ways. But, so, anything else?
I thank Greg, since we're thanking Greg for making this all legal, and our consultants, both of you, for really
Making
being
us all
so helpful
famous.
and providing us access to information in Genero, which is good for us and good for
And Ms. Tamara as well, gives us good input. Brings us back down to earth. All right, well then, if there's nothing else, then we'll adjourn the meeting, and Happy New Year to everyone.